It's been a time of turmoil in Washington, a time that's also seen Representative Nancy Pelosi in what's become her customary position, front and center. The House Speaker Emerita has a new book out, The Art of Power, an art at which Nancy Pelosi is something of a master.
She's talking with Lesley Stahl of 60 Minutes about matters public and private.
My husband and I have never talked about this. The doctors have supported that because they don't want him to revisit it.
Because of the trauma of October 28, 2022, when a man broke into their house in San Francisco and hit Paul Pelosi, then 82, in the head at least 3 times with a hammer. Surgeons had to remove part of his skull to save his life.
You were the intended target.
Yes.
He was looking for you.
Yeah, he was looking for me. Imagine the guilt of all of that. It's just a horrible thing.
Pelosi describes the horror in her new book.
One of the most gripping moments in this chapter is when your daughter, a documentarian, Alexandra, says to you, "You have to give it up," she said to you, yelling. "The speakership, Congress, everything in your public life." So did she blame you, or?
Well, I blame me. I mean, not blame me. I was the target. My family, frankly, blames certain elements of the Republican Party who had been demonizing me for about 20 years, every election and the rest. Cloven feet, horns on the head, a horrible person, in flames, a devil, and all of that. The sad thing about my husband's assault was that they just made a joke of it.
And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi, who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know?
They thought it was funny, and people laughed. So he was an instigator of violence and then made light of it.
I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
There have been reports that it was Nancy Pelosi who orchestrated a coordinated effort to squeeze President Biden to drop out.
Please tell us what you told President Biden to persuade him to step aside.
Well, I've never shared any conversations with the President of the United States publicly, no.
It's said that he's furious at you. Is he?
Well, he knows that I love him very much.
I understand that you don't want to own this, but it is so well reported that you were the leader of a pressure campaign.
No, I wasn't a leader of any pressure party. Well, let me say things that I didn't do. I didn't call one person. I did not call one person. I could always say to him, I never called anybody. What I'm saying is I had confidence that the president would make the proper choice for our country, whatever that would be. And I said that, whatever that is, we'll go with.
Had you seen a decline in Joe Biden, and did you think he needed to step aside?
No. My whole point was, whatever he decides, but we have to have a more aggressive campaign.
She mentioned his many accomplishments, including his forceful leadership of the NATO summit with other Western heads of state.
So he was in a good place to make whatever decision, the top of his game. Such a consequential president of the United States, a Mount Rushmore kind of president of the United States. Want to know what comes next.
That he belongs up there on Mount Rushmore? Lincoln and Joe Biden.
But you got Teddy Roosevelt up there, and he's wonderful. I don't say take him down, but you can add Biden. We have big needs for our country.
If there were a Mount Rushmore for speakers of the House, Nancy Pelosi would certainly be up there, commemorating her 20 years as a commanding leader in Congress.
Palm the table.
Until she relinquished Democratic Party leadership a year ago. In The Art of Power, Pelosi, now 84, looks back at some of the battles she's most proud of.
This is not a memoir. There's certain episodes of our history that I played a major role in. So I wanted to write about that, just to show my side of it, what happened in the room where it happened, where I was.
She wasn't just in the room, she was working the room, usually running it, as during the financial bailout, COVID relief, the Affordable Care Act.
We're coming for you, Nancy!
And the dark day of January 6th.
You, in the book, talk about hearing the crowd saying, Nancy, Nancy, we're coming for you, bitch, is what they said.
Yeah.
And you knew what was happening that day was directed at you.
And the Vice President. It was an insurrection instigated by the President of the United States. He now tries to disassociate himself from it, blaming it on me and everybody else. But that's the way he is. This was instigated by him.
This is a quote out of your book.
Yeah.
Because Trump was saying he was going to march to the Capitol. You said, if he comes, I'm going to punch him out.
That's right.
For trespassing on the Capitol grounds, I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
I knew that I would have to pay a price to go to jail, but I would be happy to do that.
Pelosi is now turning her toughness to defeating Donald Trump.
He has been the best organizer and fundraiser for the Democrats because people know he should never set foot again in the White House. Never should have and shouldn't again.
Now, I pledge to every American, no matter your party, I will give you everything I have.
Did Donald Trump make a mistake when he chose JD Vance?
Oh, I think it was a great choice.
And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win!
So what is your bit of advice for Kamala Harris on how to run this campaign against Donald Trump? Does she instigate a fight? Does she bait him?
Let me just say this, and this is what I tell everybody all the time. Just be yourself. It's the same advice I give to women. Be yourself.
The opposition, the Trump people, and he and JD Vance are trying to portray Kamala Harris as being weird. She's a radical left-wing San Francisco crazy lady. She's weird and she's nuts.
She's crazy. She's nuts. She's not as crazy as Nancy Pelosi. Crazy Nancy.
Well, the thing is that there's no question that they understand I make people laugh at them, and that's what they don't like, is to be laughed at. On the other hand, what I have always said about Trump, and now I don't know that much about Vance, but what we do know is menacing.
She was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
So what should she say?
Just talk about kitchen table issues.
Ignore him. Is what you're
Ignore
saying.
him. Yeah.
Turn around and just look at it. It's so beautiful from this side. You never see this side.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
No longer part of the leadership in the House, Pelosi is still running for re-election for her seat from San Francisco.
Were you ever asked to run for president?
I haven't been asked, but I was encouraged to put my name in there sometime for vice president. I said, why would I want to be vice president? I'm a legislator. I love legislating. People have to understand it's a serious work. I mean, you really have to listen. What is the judgment you bring as to what priorities can prevail? What is your strategy to get it done? It's constant. It's constant. And it's being respectful of all kinds of points of view. It's inside maneuvering, outside mobilization. It's great. I love being a legislator.